I'm Shannon Martin. Tonight, staffing shortages force another Ontario urgent care centre to cut hours.
So it's almost like a perfect storm.
We'll take you to Brampton, where a hospital closed early tonight, forcing patients to travel elsewhere for care and
peaceful, respectful country that we had years ago, all for all nation, peaceful.
Sri Lankan Canadians join calls for the immediate resignation of that country's president and prime minister after unprecedented protests this weekend and months of economic turmoil.
This is Epic Carnival energy.
The future of the Caribbean Carnival on display at the Junior King and Queen Showcase. We'll take you there for the music, the food, and all the fun.
This is CBC Late Night News.
Thanks for joining us. For the second time in a week now, an urgent care centre in this province has had to reduce hours because of staffing shortages. This time, it's Peel Memorial in Brampton. It comes as hospitals are under increasing stress across the country. We'll have more on that in a moment. But first, we start with Dale Manuktuk in Brampton.
I'm here at Brampton Civic, one of the locations that patients were redirected to. Peel Memorial Urgent Care Center closed today at 5 p.m. It usually operates 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Now, community members who required urgent or emergency care were directed to one of OSSER's emergency departments here at Brampton Civic or at Etobicoke General. I spoke with one man who went to Peel Memorial with his son, who injured his back playing basketball, only to be turned away and then come here and spend hours waiting at the Brampton Civic ER. Now, in a statement, the hospital says, like a number of hospitals, OSSER is experiencing human resource challenges, and we continue to explore all strategies to help our teams continue to provide exemplary care to our community. As always, our top priority remains the health and safety of our patients, staff, physicians, volunteers, and our community. We ask for our community's understanding during this difficult time. Now, last month, StatsCan reported an explosion in job vacancies in healthcare, and CBC has reported that many healthcare staff have been calling in sick due to actual illness and even burnout. But even if the staff isn't there, the need for a second hospital in Brampton remains.
We've sorely lacked the investments required to keep up with population growth here. And so I think this is just another reminder to governments, at all three levels, that investments in hospitals and healthcare are critically important.
In the lead up to last month's general election, Premier Doug Ford announced a $21 million investment that the health minister at the time, Christine Elliott, said would transform Peel Memorial into a fully functioning hospital. William OSSER says that it expects the urgent care center to open at normal hours tomorrow. Dale Manuktuk, CBC News, Brampton.
So tomorrow, premiers from across the country will meet in British Columbia. On the agenda, pushing for more federal healthcare funding. Yasmin Ganham has that part of the story.
Dr. Chi Ofebu says there should be 5 full-time doctors at the emergency department in Clearwater, BC. Right now, he says there are only 2.
We signed up to help the patients, make sure that we keep up with their health. But at the same time, one wonders if we're actually taking care of ourselves.
Now his emergency department has been closed until at least Monday. For those needing immediate medical care, the closest help now is in Kamloops, over an hour away.
Hanging in there, hoping that we'll get the help that we've been promised that is coming soon. But it's almost 1 year now, and that help is still nowhere to be found.
It's not just in British Columbia, it's in every community or every province across the country, largely in rural parts of our country, but not exclusively.
BC Premier John Horgan will chair this week's Premier meeting. They are expected to call on the federal government for more health care funding, a drastic raise from 22% to 35% of the cost. But healthcare professionals will be looking for more innovative solutions, not just money.
We need different models of care to attract and retain family doctors. We need different methods of payment and remuneration to retain people in that specialty. We need support with the infrastructure of community-based care, and we need integrated team-based care so that family doctors can care for aging Canadians and people with more complex disease.
Rural communities can be especially vulnerable. When 3 nurses contracted COVID-19 last week, reducing the staff to just 2, this Doctors Ontario ER was shut down.
So it's almost like a perfect storm, really, of post-COVID increasing volumes in the emergency department with a diminished ability to respond by virtue of nurses leaving their profession.
In hospitals across the country, a burden borne by patients as well, as everyone waits for answers. Yasmin Gandam, CBC News, Vancouver.
Also happening tomorrow, the federal government will meet with the head of Rogers and other telecom company leaders after Friday's massive service disruption. As Talia Ricci shows us, critics say it's time for regulators to get involved.
There were more people on patios enjoying the weather and fewer desperately seeking an internet connection this weekend. But Friday's outage is still on people's minds.
You get a little peeved off that with these monopolies that we're having here, you'd expect better service.
It was actually really frustrating. Like, everything was really slow.
The CEO of Rogers has since apologized for a lengthy network outage that affected customers across the country, saying in a statement, "We now believe we've narrowed the cause to a network system failure following a maintenance update in our core network, which caused some of our routers to malfunction early Friday morning."
A major update within the backbone of Rogers essentially went horribly wrong and shut down the entire system.
The widespread disruption halted communications across a number of sectors, including healthcare, law enforcement, and the financial industry. Now, a response from the federal government. On Monday, the Minister of Innovation will be meeting with the CEOs of Rogers and other major telecom companies, but some are calling for an inquiry by the CRTC.
They can get documents that the public can't get, and they can produce a report with recommendations to Rogers on what to fix.
The CRTC says it's looking into what happened and will put measures in place to better protect Canadians in the future, but didn't specify what those measures would be.
It could have been much worse. In fact, it could have been catastrophic.
This professor says Canada dodged a bullet, and this has exposed how vulnerable the country is.
A standard maintenance rollout should not result in the paralysis of a quarter of Canadians' ability to communicate. I think there's going to be several class action lawsuits.
While being disconnected for a day brought some people peace,
we did our life about without the internet.
Many say an apology is not enough.
What I want to read is someone from Rogers is taking responsibility for this, and X, Y, and Z will happen.
Rogers said customers that were impacted will receive a credit, and that will happen automatically. However, the company hasn't specified how much or when customers can expect to see it. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
We talked to a Rogers customer who reached out to the company to get more clarity on what this rebate would mean for him. He was told compensation would be prorated for the 2 days the service would have cost him. Here's more of what he told us.
We're going to give you a credit. And I said, great. How much is that credit going to be? And they said, well, it'll be for the 2 days of service. So I did the quick math. Our Rogers bill comes up to about $140 a month. So the quick math, I think it was about $4.80 a day. So it'd be about $9 I'd get in total, which is absolutely ridiculous, because if I had to go out and find, grab a SIM card from another provider to have data or services that day, it would cost more than $9. And the 2 days of service credit, they're obligated to provide that anyways. So I think it's really, really disingenuous on the part of Rogers and their CEO to be making statements in the media saying that they're providing compensation to their customers, because what they're actually providing is the bare minimum. They're providing what they legally have to, not a penny more.
So he complained about lost wages due to not being able to work and was offered an additional $50 credit to his account. We did reach out to Rogers about this story tonight. In a statement, they repeated they will be crediting accounts automatically, but didn't provide any more specifics than that. Well, police are looking for 2 people after a woman was murdered in Toronto's East End. Officers identifying the victim tonight as 32-year-old Megan Elizabeth Krant. On Friday, police were called to Gerrard and Woodbine just after 8 o'clock. They found her suffering from gunshot wounds. Now they're looking for 2 suspects, 25-year-old Nicholas Hirsch and 29-year-old Chelsea Mays, both from Toronto. Now they're considered armed and dangerous. Anyone with information is asked to call police. In other news tonight, Sri Lankan Canadians rallying together after a weekend of extreme protests unrest in that country. As you saw here last night, protesters stormed the president's palace and torched the prime minister's residence, all part of the furious public reaction to that country's economic meltdown. Clara Pasika spent the day talking to some of the GTA's Sri Lankan community.
At Mississauga Celebration Square, dozens of Sri Lankan Canadians gather on the steps calling for the immediate resignation of the country's president and prime minister after tumultuous protests within the country over its economic crisis. Asoka Jayalath hopes protests like this one in Mississauga alert the world to how bad things have become.
We have been participating in these protests because our people have no food, no electricity, no schools, no universities. They can't go to work because there's no transportation.
Many place the blame for the economic crisis squarely on the shoulders of leadership. Cries for the prime minister and president to step down came to a head this weekend, with protesters in the capital city of Colombo storming and taking over the homes of both leaders Saturday. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said he will leave office once a new government is in place, and hours later the Speaker of Parliament said President Gotabaya Rajapaksa would step down on Wednesday. But protesters here in Canada and elsewhere say they've heard this talk before and are calling for more immediate resignations.
Rajapaksa family, you need to step down.
We are requesting them to step down immediately. They are extending their dates, so we don't want that. We need them to step down right away, immediately.
In Sri Lanka, clashes at yesterday's protests resulted in more than 30 injuries.
They have not resigned. They have been playing this game forever. They have not officially informed them. Not tomorrow, not Wednesday. We want them to go right now. Otherwise, people are going to die on the street.
Tilak Patenare, a Sri Lankan Canadian, says protesters within the country and around the world just want stability and normalcy.
All we want, corruption-free, peaceful, respectful country that we had years ago. All for all nation, peaceful.
Clara Pasika, CBC News, Mississauga.
Sophia, you were on my mind this morning as I was watering my very sad-looking flowers. They don't look so good.
Yeah, I've kind of just given up for the year. Maybe we'll resod the whole lawn next year. I'm at that point. Actually, I'll show you in the long range what my lawn looks like. I'm going to put my money where my lawn is, if that's a saying. Today was the day, though, without that rain, to lay out in the sunshine and enjoy it all. Still balmy conditions out there. Still that nice northwest flow where you can turn off the AC and have the windows open, and we are still on that search, Shannon, for that long-awaited rain. Everybody else has cracked the 30-millimeter mark. We're barely at the mid-teens in parts of the GTA, but there is a glimmer of hope in the forecast. Tuesday, thunderstorm icon. Wednesday, showers. What's this all about? The gardeners, like you, Shannon, are waiting with bated breath. It'll all come after our hot and humid day. Monday could also be Toronto's first 30-degree day in July. Will be a certainty to hit the 30s. In places like Windsor, it will be blustery and breezy and sticky. And in the long range, we will tell you the timing, who and when the rain will come.
Yeah, you know what? No worries about those flowers. I want the humidity, so it's all good.
Yeah, okay. Then I'll give you that and then some.
Okay, thanks, Sophia. We'll see you in a little bit, and we're heading into a commercial break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Ukrainian Canadians have celebrated Canada's support for their home country, but today they're protesting, feeling betrayed that Canada has just relaxed a sanction. Valeria Koriminokio explains.
Canada's Ukrainian community is giving voice to its anger, from Edmonton to Montreal.
We're very disappointed. It definitely feels like a slap in the face.
On Saturday, Ottawa announced a time-limited and revocable permit to Siemens Canada. That allows the turbines that had been fixed in Montreal to be returned to Germany, but their final destination is Russia. They're used for the Nord Stream 1 pipeline that supplies Russian gas to Germany and beyond. Ukraine had urged Canada to withhold the turbines and keep its sanctions in force.
And we feel that it is completely inappropriate.
The Canadian-Ukrainian Congress now calls on Ottawa to revoke the permit that it calls a dangerous precedent.
This particular decision, we feel, is completely counterproductive to what we want achieved. It goes against everything in terms of isolating Russia it fuels Russia's economy.
It's extremely myopic and short-sighted, because the effect of holding on to them would be that Russia is either going to deliver less gas or possibly no gas at all. That would then plunge Germany and Europe into an economic and political crisis, which is, of course, exactly what Vladimir Putin is trying to provoke.
Russia has already cut the pipeline's output by 60%, and Germany is scrambling to ration energy ahead of winter. Just more pressure for Canada to comply.
Germany, of course, is also continental Europe's key anchor when it comes to defending the interests of Ukraine within the European Union and more broadly on the continent.
Siemens Energy says it's working to send back the turbines as quickly as possible. Ottawa has just announced new sanctions on Russia targeting disinformation and propaganda. It also plans to expand existing sanctions to include industrial manufacturing. Valeria Corey Minocchio, CBC News, Montreal.
Local beer makers hit hard during the pandemic are getting creative as they try to recover. As Natalie Collada shows us, some are expanding operations while others are merging.
Yeah, so this is the brew house. We have our bottling line.
Hoping to stand out among the number of craft breweries pouring into the province, last summer Lost Craft Beer merged with High Park Brewery.
Every neighborhood in Toronto has their own brewery, so it's really hyper-localized the market in terms of your local brewery is no longer any brewery from Toronto, it's the one that's closest to you. And that's really it kind of caused a lot of saturation in the industry.
So De Silva and his team are experimenting with their formulas and expanding their products, adding spirits like their own tequila.
Consumer preferences are evolving. Beer isn't growing as fast as it was previously. There's a lot of ready-to-drink competition and just general local competition. So having a bigger variety of products, we feel really allows us to compete more effectively.
Critics suggest moves like that will be vital for the industry to recover from the pandemic. According to Ontario's Craft Brewers Association, there are more than 330 craft breweries in over 110 communities across the province. While data shows beer consumption has steadily dropped over the last 7 years. At the same time, craft beer's market share is rising.
It's still a flourishing, undiscovered market for Ontarians.
Great Lakes Brewery is counting on it.
We're just getting discovered by the community, and we're using the launch this weekend. We've got 1987 pricing.
The brewery is opening a new location and pub here on Lower Jarvis, hoping their West End success will resonate in other parts of the city.
There's this fake wall at Roncesvalles that a lot of Torontonians don't like to cross. So we figured we're going to bring Great Lakes to the people in the East End.
So far, it seems to be working.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Natalie Collada, CBC News, Toronto.
The Caribbean Carnival is kicking off this weekend with one of their first events, Kitties for Mass, putting the future of the carnival on display, the Junior King and Queen Showcase, and our cameras were there.
This is Epic Carnival Energy!
Well, today we're here celebrating Kitties for Mass, which is the junior festival for Toronto Caribbean Carnival. One of the first events for us, and we're really excited to see the kids, the future of Carnival, out celebrating and playing Mass. Aside from the beautiful costumes and the elaborate displays, we've got, as you can maybe hear behind me, pan music playing. We've got some activities for the kids. We've got food vendors so they can taste the amazing Caribbean food. And it's actually was originally a gift. It's our 55th anniversary, actually, of the carnival. And it was a gift to Canada from the Caribbean community. There's a thing called tabanca in Caribbean culture, which is where you sort of miss something a lot. So a lot of people have been saying they've had a lot of tabanca as it relates to carnival. This year, our theme for the carnival is Embrace the Carnival in You. And so it's about sharing this culture and this experience with everybody. It's from the Caribbean community, but it's for all people.
And it was perfect weather in Scarborough this weekend for the return of the Taste of Lawrence.
The rides are fun.
So I've been munching my way through all of the booths, and it's been amazing.
I must have gained a lot of weight too, so anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's great to be back in business and actually working. It's nice.
To me, this is all about coming together as all of Scarborough. I was born and raised here, and it's a wonderful collection of tastes, of experiences, of cultures.
The Street Festival returned this weekend after 2 years with live music and dance performances, rides for the kids, and of course, tons of food options. Festival goers were happy to see the 3-day festival return. Founder and City Councilor Michael Thompson was there too.
We've seen a tremendous amount of growth. We've seen, obviously, the transformation of this community in a way that was not imaginable by many. It's our community's event that we are sharing, experiencing, and having just an amazing time. It is just so heartwarming.
It was organized by the Wexford Heights BIA. They estimate that more than 250,000 people attended this weekend. Yeah, now the yard. Who cares? Like, let's get outside and enjoy all the things returning again in person, right?
Yeah, let's pack the pavement, and if you're somebody like me, you may have to just pave over the lawn as well. But hey, the festival is so much better when you've got nice weather, and we've had a lot of nice weather. So much so that if you go away for a week and try to enjoy it, your lawn might look something like mine. My husband doesn't know I'm showing you all this. He's going to be super embarrassed when he sees this in a few minutes. We are just giving up for next year and starting over. Monday morning, temperatures are beautiful, though, when you're dropping the kids off to camp. We get a do-over when it comes to the rain and watering that garden, Shannon. Monday afternoon, it all comes in with a really blustery and breezy southerly flow. Monday afternoon and Monday evening. It's with that sticky heat and humidity that we love. And it's also going to come with some pretty potent storm energy that's been bringing severe storms to the prairies. It will pass by us into the overnight period. So if we get a good soaking rain, it will be into pre-dawn Tuesday. So it starts off Monday afternoon with some showers for those of you first into cottage country, into southwestern Ontario. Late night, hopefully that more soaking rain comes. It looks to be more of a surefire bet, though, into southwestern Ontario and north and east of the city, but we should get something around the GTA and the Golden Horseshoe. Hopefully that cold front doesn't sag too far south. It's all kind of said and done by the time we hit Tuesday afternoon, but there's that chance of a little lake breeze storm again early Tuesday morning. So this is an early Tuesday story. Wednesday, a passing shower as your humidity does a free fall into Wednesday. Really pleasant seasonal week. I don't think we have another chance at hitting 30, though, until maybe next week, Shannon.
It looks gorgeous. Thanks so much, Sophia.
You're welcome.
That's our show for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Before we go, one last look at all the fun on St. Clair West for Salsa on St. Clair. This weekend marked the return of the festival in person after 2 years of going virtual. It's Canada's largest Latin celebration. Always so much fun. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you soon.